Thank you very much. Mr. President, can you hear me? There he is.
Yes, I hear you, Mr. President. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Well, I hope you heard the voices of all of the people here standing and cheering. First, thank you for taking the time to be with us briefly today. We have people here from all over the world, and a lot of them are interested in anything you have to say, but also especially in the purpose of our meeting here, which is to do things that have still not been done by governments or philanthropists or other actors. We want to know what you're facing, good and challenging, and what, if anything, any of us can do to help. We spend a year, every year, now that we're back in business, trying to identify challenges people face and put together teams of people to meet them. One of our number, I know Jose Andres has already been there and you've seen him helping to feed people. But we want to know first, how you doing? How are the people of Ukraine doing? And second, you should know there's a small army of people here with friends, contacts, and resources all over the world who would like to help your people prevail. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you, everyone in the audience. Quite a general question, how the world can help us. I'd like to start by saying about what the world has already done to help us, what the elites also from the United States done. There are results that you can already see in Ukraine, the deoccupation, the strengthened army of Ukraine. Our army has become stronger on the battlefield, our servicemen have become resilient, but they are resilient because of the gut feeling, because of the love, immense love towards the motherland, the clinging. But again, when you're on the battleground, having good brains or strong beliefs is not enough. And I'd like to take this opportunity and thank President Biden, the US administration, and all of the Americans for your support of Ukraine. How Ukraine can be helped. Yes, there are ways in which many countries worldwide could help Ukraine through artillery pieces that we need, munitions, and definitely the US could have political influence on this country to convince them. We have regular communication among presidents on the level of senators and the lobbyists. They are already present also in your hall, and they can do it. Yes, some people would like to remain on the sidelines, but in this war you cannot remain on the sidelines because we have real occupation, a real war of aggression that Russia has waged against us. And you definitely have to take sides. You cannot vacillate between good and evil, or the light or dark. And actually, we are fighting for the freedom. We want to defend freedom. And you're absolutely free in your choice of selecting. It's freedom that we fight for. You know, the UN General Assembly is going to start today. You know that there was a voting to allow me to address them via video call. And we had 101 states in favor of my video appearance and 7 countries were against. So a clear indication that the majority of the world supports Ukraine and stands against the autocracy of the Russian Federation. What we need to go faster with our pace. We need to have better support of our army. When we received what we needed, we already immediately showed what we are capable of in Kharkiv Oblast to show that Russian army is not the strongest one. And we showed that there is a nation which is not afraid of them and is ready to mount a fight against them. The second, how to make Russia sit at the table of negotiation with us already after they leave the area. It's about sanctions. The sanctions that the United States, the UK, the European Union have jointly imposed. It's very important to remain unified and united around that. You know that it's very important also for some European leaders to remain united and not to lose Europe over it. Unified sanctions will definitely hit the Russians' military, industrial complex and their economy. The most important thing is for it to be felt not just by Russian leaders, but for the public, for people. People do feel it when it hits their wallets, when they feel they're limited in their rights and freedoms. And from here, they need to limit the visa regime for the Russian Federation. This is when the Russian public will feel that they have war, the bloody war, on their hands. And they will remember that it was them who voted for their current leaders. And with it, they have responsibility. They have to bear the price of war. They have to feel it. They have to feel it strongly. And I think no free shopping or tourism attractions for Russian Federation nationals in Europe, as long as they're aggressors. Stay at home, guys. Another important moment is to recognize Russia, and I think, by the way, this is the most important sanction so far, to recognize Russia the state sponsor of terrorism. This is what the United States of America can do. For the whole of the civilized world, the United States of America is an indicator of democracy. When you give us artillery, other governments and nations join giving us artillery pieces too. So when the USA recognizes the Russian Federation as the state sponsor of terrorism, other countries also in Europe will join in this initiative. So this is the answer to a question how the US could help or can help, can be leaders pioneering this pressure on the Russian Federation. We can talk about economic support as well. We see the importance of the support from the IMF for that purpose. But again, on a separate note, this microfinancial assistance for us to pay salaries and benefits to our retirees, this is what is already happening. This is what we were promised. Thank you for this.
I personally am very glad that the United States and many of our allies through NATO have continued to give strong support to the Ukrainian military efforts and to increase your capacity to compete with and now defeat a lot of the Russian military forces. But I'm also aware that you're president of a country that has to get up and live every day. The children have to be fed. I saw the children going back to school in pictures a few days ago. We have here 1,000 or more people who have done things all over the world that maybe need doing now in Ukraine. I We have one of our major partners has given over 150,000 sets of hearing aid supports. Do people need them in Ukraine? Do they need to be replaced? I could give you lots and lots of other examples. I know you have done a brilliant job in keeping the public support high and the determination to resist and defeat aggression high. And we want to support that. And so I think that even either now or later, if it occurs to you that there are things that we could do which would make it easier on the day-to-day lives of the Ukrainian people to take on this enormous responsibility and continue to fight, I hope you will feel free to ask. If there's anything we can do to help move more of your agricultural products out to places around the world who need them, ask. Most of us are pretty well connected with our various governments, but also have maybe non-governmental means to move a lot of these products and services and bring help. So please feel free to ask and know that we're pulling for you.
Дуже дякую, пане
Yes,
президенте.
yes, thank you so much, Mr. President.
Дійсно, гуманітарна допомога
The humanitarian assistance is among the priorities for Ukraine today.
відновлювальна освітня інфраструктура і
The restoration of educational and public health protection infrastructure, the one that was so heavily damaged after Russian missile strikes on Ukraine. This is also very much relevant today. And you were right when you mentioned the beginning of this academic year, children going to school. And we do understand that after the war, the whole world will be assisting Ukraine, which will need hundreds of billions of investments. And this will be needed. This infrastructural renovation will be needed, like kindergartens for kids, hospitals for the whole of the population. We need to see that people come back to life, that everyone is able to lead a life. And yes, we will have to build bomb shelters, also in educational facilities to ensure their safety. And yes, we'll have to prepare our education institutions to this winter season in terms of heating. And we'd like to address you for the following. We have a strong deficit of 3.6 billion for this heating infrastructure until the end of this year, and more than 10 billion for the coming year, for the next year. And these are the costs that our educational facilities for kids will need to remain afloat. President Biden has been delivering 1.5 billion a month. On the other hand, we have 5 billion deficit each month, so there is a difference. And we need to see people come back to the country. We need them to restart their employment, their work. We need our economy to reboot. We need people to restart paying taxes. But people can only go back and start working when they're confident their kids are safe and can go to school. From here, we need to rebuild the infrastructure. This is when millions of people will come back. We have the statistics that up to 90% of our current migrants are willing to come back. They will come back when the infrastructure is back. Educational, healthcare, and so on. This is when people will start paying taxes back, when the economy will will be humming once again, and it will be better and cheaper for the whole of the world if Ukraine is able to be back on track. So thank you for your proposal. We will definitely be addressing our partners in the US as well for this.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you, Mr. President. I think, at least based on my experience in many other countries with this group over the last more than 15 years, we built a lot of things and we can help with construction. And this is one thing where the private sector can come together with donors and with your support in Ukraine. If we meet all the requirements, we can just do what you ask us to do. So we will follow up on that and try to do that. Is there anything else you want to tell us? Any other marching orders you want to give us?
Я хотів би, щоб сьогодні
You know,
Сполучені Штати Америки
I'd
звернули
like it
увагу
that
на
today the US pays more attention
речі,
to
на
global
прикладі
things,
України, щоб
like,
вони не повторювалися у світі.
well, taking Ukraine as an
Ми
example,
нещодавно
to avoid these
зробили
things
на
repeat
розробі
themselves
з
in the
нашими
world.
міжнародними партнерами
Recently,
гарантії
we
безпеки,
have
рекомендації
designed
щодо
a
майбутнього
document on security
договору
guarantees for
щодо
Ukraine.
гарантій
We
безпеки
did it
для
together
України.
with our
Це
partners
був би прекрасним
as a
прикладом
document covering
чудовим
the set of
прикладом
guarantees
для всіх
for the
інших
future of
держав,
Ukraine. I think
як
this could
надати
make a good
можливість всім
example for
іншим
other
державам,
countries,
які не є імперіями, але знати,
for
що
those countries
колись
and nations
було
that
гарантом
are not
безпеки для
empires,
всіх.
but nevertheless they
Сьогодні ці
can
гарантії
be
безпеки, вони
guarantors of
пропоновані
safety.
нам. Ми хочемо, щоб
And the security
коло
guarantees have been
гарантерів було з партнерів,
designed
як
by
Сполучених
us. And
Штатів,
we would
Британії,
like to
так і
see the
країн
circle
Європейського
of
Союзу.
guarantors
Це розроблено нам,
represented by
воно цей
NATO
документ
members,
дуже
by the EU
потужний.
members,
Для
to
нас
be as wide
потрібна
as possible.
підтримка
This is a very
політики, а
important, a
також
powerful
приватного
document. It's
сектору,
very important in
тому що
terms of
там гарантії
political
безпеки
support of
різні.
Ukraine,
Від
in terms of
санкційних до
guarantees for the
фінансових,
private sector,
від збройних до
because
політичних.
guarantees are
Це такий приклад для країн,
multifaceted,
які
from
поки
military to
що не в НАТО.
political to
Але
economic.
поки ти не
This
в
is a good
НАТО, ти все
example
одно
for the country
повинен
that
жити.
is still not in
Жити в
NATO,
безпеці,
but in spite of
включаючи
not being a NATO
там
member, it
розробку
still
системи
wants to
протиповітряної
live and it
оборони,
has to live. It's
харчова
about
безпека тощо. Ці
the
три виклики,
air
які
defense,
сьогодні є
it's
у
about
світі.
food
Я
safety,
думаю, що
all
дуже
other
важливо,
things
щоб
that are so
Сполучені
relevant for
Штати
the
Америки
world
стали
today.
першою країною, яка
I
підпише
would
ці гарантії
love to
безпеки
see the
на
United States to be
українських
the first
кордонах.
country worldwide to
Дякую.
sign this document on security guarantee with the Ukrainian counterpart. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I think for many of us, the most encouraging things we've heard was that the Ukrainians will come home if we can have the basic conditions they need to come back in the building. So, we're grateful that you took time to talk with us. We think of your people, all that you have lost and all that you have won. And we wish you well, and I hope that we will be able to produce some more support for you and do it soon, because the world should be standing up for freedom, and it has to start in Ukraine. Do you want to say anything else? Do you want to ask anything else specifically of our group?
Ви знаєте, у мене стільки питань,
You know, I have so
якщо
so
чесно,
so many
які поки
questions, frankly.
що іноді залишаються без деяких відповідей.
Those
Я думаю,
questions that
що важливо,
some of them
щоб ми
are
з вами
still unanswered. I think, the key point is that we share same values, that we stand, that we love freedom and democracy. And nevertheless think that even most important is that our kids are safe and in good health. From here, quite a simple point. We have no other way around but to defend the values that the whole world stands for. We are a nation on the territory of which the Russian Federation came, the servicemen came. We have nowhere to run or hide. We have to defend what we have. And from here, two simple questions. If we defend our common values, will the US remain with us to the end of it?
Well, I think, I don't speak for the government anymore. I just work here. But I don't think it's just in the U.S. I think all over the world you're going to get more support and more and more and more as people see the courage that not only you but your people have shown, and they realize that we don't have to give up on democracy. We don't have to give up on independence. We don't have to give up on freedom. That people would far prefer that than to be bossed around, pushed around, bullied around, and beat around. And you have proved that to all of us, and we are forever in your debt. And I've got the signal on the building, and we will follow up on other things. And if any of us can do anything to help you ever, let us know. We're very proud to be supporting someone who is proving every day that democracy is not an outdated, old-fashioned notion that's too inefficient to compete with dictatorship. We now know better because you have proved it, and we thank you for that.